Do your kids go to school in Nigeria? Do you send them to hospitals in Nigeria? What exactly are you on about? What I'm saying to you right now is, fine. What has happened is happened. It's water under the bridge. I'm already 30 years old now. I'm 37 years old. I'm an adult. I have kids. I am saying that the nation cannot continue to listen to old garbage, especially when we're moving forward. My issue here is very simple. I might not understand the intricacies, but it's very simple. You started a process. Be a man and follow through. You said the man convinced my father to run. This was not the first time my father tried to run. He tried to run in 1983. They said something funny like the ticket is not for sale. You know, what these people don't understand is that they thought my father was all about money. It was never. Money was the least of my father's ambitions. My father was poor when he was born. He understood the factors at hand. And he said, Nigerians will solve Nigerians' problems. What I'll tell you for a fact is they never believed Abiola will win. They said he's from the West, Yoruba. He will never win against a Northerner. My father showed them that it wasn't true. They thought, oh, it's a Muslim ticket. He will never walk. My father debunked that rumor. Every step of the way, they tried to truncate his progress, but he showed them that you people don't even understand the concept of democracy itself. Look, I'm not arguing with this man. The man is old, Ron Share. And the funny thing about it is that this man that we're talking about, when I was born in 1984, if this man is actually his spokesman, he should know this. He came to my father's house in 1984, and it was a big party. Apparently, he's supposed to be my godfather. So for me to even be talking like this, I'm just saying to myself that, look, when we have a situation like this, I am not talking for me alone. I'm talking for 211 million Nigerians right now. We cannot continue to be listening to people who are just trying to rewrite history just to protect their own image. Look, if this man really thinks he's very popular and people love him, leave your protection in your house, walk down the hilltop, and see what happens. It's very simple. He can prove to us that he's a man of the people and just walk freely. You know, I am telling you for a fact, see, I am not pleased at what is happening in Nigeria today. I got back to Nigeria in 2007, and everything, all I am is a progressive. I am continuing in my father's footsteps, not because I want to be a billionaire or I want to have a house on the hilltop. No, because I understand that Nigeria belongs to me. I don't have any other country, for God's sake. So where I'm coming from right now is very simple. Mr. Kazim, with all due respect, when your book comes out, I will not buy it, so you have to give it to me for free. Because my money is not to be, I'm not going to give you my money so that you can, continue, buying new cars and all this stuff. What I'm suggesting to you is, please tell your principal to please leave the nation alone. Come 2023, the youth will decide where we're going to go.
But he did have a lot to say, but he did have very interesting things to say, even though a lot of people have kicked against it. But he did say that Nigeria needs someone who is progressive, and you are saying that you are progressive. He talked about the kind of leaders that we need in Nigeria today. He obviously lampooned Mr. President's government and said several other things, but he also emphasized on the fact that we need to unify as a country as opposed to the different ethnic sentiments that we're experiencing and the people who are asking for secession. He was trying to be a unifier of sorts. He didn't really say he wanted in, because I remember, I think sometime in 2012, he did say that he had resigned from active partisan politics. So I don't think he's really interested. He was just maybe lending his voice.
He's not really interested in what? This is the same man. He expected that he will leave the corridors of power. After a while, the Nigerians will call him back. And Babawa, come back and think, it's very funny how these people think. The country itself is a youthful country. We do need a youth president. But first of all, where I'm going with this is, we don't need anybody to tell us what to do. You see, leadership and leaders don't go around telling their followerships, go left, go right. It's like a military man giving decrees. Who are you decreeing to? Look, first of all, a true leader...
Really, we do not want people telling us what to do, really? Why are we not doing these things if we know how to do it? Why are we still running after the same kinds of people, taking monies from them and killing people, snatching ballot boxes? Why are we not doing the right things if we know how to do them? And
first of all, I'll tell you it's systematic. What has been done to the Nigerian people is systematic. What I'm suggesting about leadership is a good leader will give you will give you the necessary information to make an informed decision. It's very simple. My father said it. Don't give me fish. Teach me how to fish. The knowledge is key here. We need to understand the knowledge is key. So what I'm proposing is, in this time, we're in 2021 and we'll come 2023. What I'm working on right now is giving people the necessary knowledge. You need to know the issues so that way you are informed. I'm not going to tell my Nigerian people to go and vote left or right or vote for Igbo or Yoruba, because it doesn't matter. As long as you're a Nigerian, you should be able to fight or strive for any position you want in the country. But the issue here is we should be encouraging education, knowledge. That is how people would move out of this little box. What has happened in Nigeria is, think about it now. Since 1999, the education level in Nigeria before 1999 was something that people were proud of. They said that the secondary school education level was the best in the world. Our students in Nigeria go to other countries and they're excelling. Why is it different in Nigeria? Because it's systematic. They did this on purpose. They wanted to keep people subjugated so that way they can easily control them. You see, look, it's not hard now. Look, the message I'm getting at now is leaders don't sit in their lofty palaces and then they start dictating to the masses. My father was very adamant on this thing. Now, look, what we need to do is address the issue at the source. And by doing that, we need to educate more people.
All right.
The Nigeria they grew up in is not the same Nigeria we grew up in. And when he talks about corruption, let him not tell me about corruption. Corruption is corruption, no matter when it is. When in his own time, it was $1 to $1. Now it's $1 to 500 naira. So we learn from you. Don't tell me that in your own time it was easier or it was better. Corruption is corruption.
Let me go back to Mr. Afebwa, because you were talking about democracy. And a lot of Nigerians who have also pushed back on your principal's interview have said that what does a dictator or someone who was under a military rule have to or know about, a democracy? He has not necessarily participated actively, and I do not say that, I say that loosely, by the way, in, the democratic dispensation in Nigeria. But I remember that a couple of people have asked several questions that have not been answered, and I really wish that was a fly on the wall, in that room, or I was, asking the questions. There are unanswered questions under former General IBB's government in terms of the death of Dele Giwa. Why wasn't it investigated? I mean, I know that you're going to also come up with a very smart answer, but if you must point fingers today and try to see if you can give us some words of wisdom like your principal was trying to give us, the question is, why didn't you do these things when you were in power, when you had all the power to change the fortunes of Nigeria? Why wait now? Why wait till 2021 to start spitting those gems? Again, there are also those who say that your government was not necessarily media friendly. So there are a lot of issues here. But I want to start with the issue of Dele Giwa. Why wasn't that issue followed
please
through?
allow me to respond to a few, submissions of Abdul Mumini. You don't just ask
and
questions.
Please make sure you answer mine too.
By not allowing me to follow up. Please wait. First of all, IBB as a Nigerian and a former military president has the right to own an opinion. He is protected by the 1999 Constitution as a fundamental human right of freedom to speak on issues. And whether Abdul Mumini likes it or not, he has a better knowledge, better understanding of the intricate logic of the Nigerian Federation, if there's anything called a federation in this country. So my point is, you don't say what has a man got to offer. IBB spoke to Arise Television. Eight newspapers carried it front page on Saturday. That means his views and opinions are largely sought by people who want to understand his own feeling about happenings in the country. That's one. Secondly,
who are these people, and what poll says that there are people who wants to hear the opinion of the late general and how he feels about the state of the nation?
Allow me to speak. If you want to be the one speaking, then I'll keep quiet.
No, I'm just curious.
You invited me to speak. Allow me to speak.
I'm curious. Just help me understand.
I'm responding to the points he raised. So the point is, IDB will be 80 next week, Tuesday. So he's telling us that Nigerians, as a Nigerian, he has a right to say, this is the kind of person I want to see as a Nigerian vying for presidency. Abdul Mumini should be telling me what is his own contribution to the evolutionary process of leadership in the country. What is he contributing? What is he bringing to the table? You talk about it's not all about June 12th. In that Lagos where you reside, remove third mainland bridge from that place, and Lagos will be chaotic. Somebody did that with our money, with our resources, but there are people who are not doing that. There's somebody who ran the government for 8 years and didn't construct 1 kilometer of road in Lagos State. There are a lot of achievements that IBB put forward when he was president. So June 12th is just a scar, but it is not. It will not dictate all the gains that he recorded. You were talking about the media that was not media friendly. He liberalized the media even as a military government. AIT channels all got their licenses as private media platforms. So the banking sector was liberalized, and all the new big guys you are seeing today, Zenith Bank, Access Bank, all of this, Diamond Bank took off from during IDB. So if you want me to mention so many, I will mention, but time will not permit.
Time will not permit me, but I want to rephrase one of my questions just quickly.
As a Nigerian, he has the right to own an opinion, and you cannot take away that right.
Definitely.
Inalienable right that is guaranteed under the Nigerian Constitution.
Definitely, everybody has a right to expression. But my question again, the issue of Dele Giwa, we all know the story. He was killed by a letter bomb. The government tried to absolve itself. But what stopped the government from investigating and following through to make sure that they found the person who killed him?
What government did the investigation? What government? Are you sure you are conversant with the issues of Dele Giwa?
Oh, yes, I am. Please, in case you would like to also educate me on air, please educate me.
Are you aware that there was a trial, there was investigation, there were submissions, there were conclusions? Are you aware that...
But it was the duty of the government to fish out the killer. Who was the killer?
Are you aware that there was a legal disputation about the issue of Dele Giwa?
Well, I'm still asking the same question. I am aware of all of these things, but where is the killer? There should have been a point at which, with all of the things that happened, with all of the sessions and all of the cases, the investigations, the hearings, why couldn't the government as powerful as that of General Ibrahim Babangida not able to fish out the killer of Dele Giwa?
How many killers, as powerful as America is, were they able to find out who killed Meriwether Lewis in the Jefferson days? As powerful as it is, are there no legions of unresolved murders?
So you're making an excuse that a government who is today telling us how we should run our democratic system today is unable to fish out a killer of a journalist, one of Nigeria's finest journalists. You're making an excuse.
This question is too pedestrian, my dear sister.
As pedestrian as it is, please help me understand why you are brushing off the issue of Nigeria being unable to fish out a killer for a government that wasn't just civilian, it was a military government. So we had all of the powers to do that. And you're comparing it to America. America is hundreds of years ahead of us. So, of course, go ahead. Let's continue the comparison. As much as you say this is a pedestrian question, I would like a pedestrian answer, if you don't mind. Well, unfortunately, I think we can't hear Mr. Fegwa again. So I'll come back to you, Mumuni. I saw you raising your hand.
Yeah, you see, this is all semantics, and I'm telling you, you can't start mixing apples. See, the bottom line is what was done during that time was just as bad. You know what I mean? Let's not call a spade a spade. This was letter bombs. You sit down in your house, you get a mail, like you have Allah day. You know what I mean? So these are the kind of things these people were capable of. What I'm getting at here is we should not be fooled yet again. It's very simple. I made it clear in my statement. When I saw the speech itself, I just looked at somebody who was trying to redeem himself. The first thing you do when you want to redeem yourself is, first of all, apologize. I was wrong. apologize. This is why I think that Nigeria is always so backwards, because the same old story over and over again, and we look for different results. Why do we seem that why is it like, it's like we're cursed. It's like we go back to the same old people looking for answers. And he made a comment about, I think he was making a comment about the former Lagos State governor, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If not for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we will not even have an opposition party, for God's sake. You know what I mean? That man fought through Najeko. He fought for the restitution of democracy in the country, and we're so lucky that we even have an alternative. The alternative might not be perfect, but it's better than what we had before. So I would go. I would not even try to even start picking and choosing which one and which. And you talk about building Third Mainland Bridge. Yeah, it's acting like he used his personal money. This was the people's money. The people built it. You just happen to be the one at signing the paper, but you were signing on behalf of Nigerians. Don't think that you are better. You see, this is another problem in Nigeria. You build something that with the public funds, and you say you want to have a commission.
But the same could be said about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of course. When you say he fought, and all the things that you think he did, the strides and the gains, obviously was taxpayers' money. So,
no, I'm not saying it's not with taxpayers' money. What I'm suggesting here is that when you start to say one is better than the other, there's no reason to do that, because everything is in its own context. So for me, I believe that when Asiwaju was governor at the time, if you have noticed, I think in the second term, they had stopped giving them local government funds. There were so many things done to try to belittle the man and try to suppress his progress in the nation. So God knows, you see, the fight for our democracy is still ongoing. Like I said, Asiwaju has done his part, and it's now left to everybody else to continue as we go. Like for me, he said that maybe I'm not, I don't know, what am I doing?
Well, quickly, because we're running out of time, because I want to go back to Mr. Fegwa to wrap this up. He did, ask you a simple question as to what solutions are you bringing to the table? What kind of leader are you proposing for Nigeria? Just as his principal has also made his case, what is your case?
Okay, first of all, when it comes to picking a leader for Nigeria, I don't have any right to tell Nigerians what to do. What I am doing on behalf of the nation is by informing people. So I have like a radio program that I do, trying to encourage people to not sell their votes, to understand the issues that we are facing today. That's one. Two, what I'm also telling you is that even today, in the democracy we have today, we have people that I can identify with as true Democrats. Okay, first of all, I worked with Aregbesola in Osun State. That's when we came up with the old mills, the Opoimo program. We did the Ogao. He did the he employed youth. We're doing things that we could, but if you understand that we're surprised by the funding we had in the States, but he did his best. Even to today, as the Minister for Interior, he's working, trying to revolutionize the passport process and even just the ministry itself by getting better fire equipment for the fire department, helping with the immigration process to make it easier for people to get passports.
This sounds to me like a campaign of sorts for Rauf Aregbesola, and there are many people who would also disagree with you that he didn't do great in office. So unfortunately, I don't think I want you to do this, to carry out this campaign on my show.
One more thing to say, and then you can go to Mr. February, because I think he's the showcase of this event. You see, I've also gone around the country. I've met people. I've listened to their needs. The same thing my father was complaining about is what is happening today. I want to mention one more person that I believe is also done something in his own space, and he has done, and I'm pleased with what he was able to do. In Kogi State, for example, he's a youth. He made sure that all his cabinet members were also youth. So it's a youth revolution. If you go to that state today, you'll find that state is bordered by 10 other states. We're not hearing about kidnapping. We're not hearing about anything. What I'm suggesting to you is that the future and the way forward for Nigeria is when we forget these old babas and we start to handle these things ourselves. The way I will solve a problem is different from the way my father will have solved the problem. Okay. My father's time is past. It is time for the youth to take over control of the nation. Period.
All right. Mr. Fegwa, I just ask the questions. Really, is it about the age of a person, or is it about the experience or the ideas that you need to run a country and run it right?
I think my brother Abdul Mumini is behaving like Mr. President, who is, detained by the past. When you challenge the APC government, they tell you PDP are the problem of the country. Meanwhile, they are presently occupying the driver's seat in our governance process and are unable to deliver, democratic dividends the way they should do. So when you keep hammering at the past, and you're not looking at the future, you are not creating opportunities that will help us to get credible elections, that will throw up, credible leaders to represent us, then we have a problem. And my point is, I don't have problem with anyone holding any opposition or anger, grievances, all that. But when people speak, it helps our documentation process. It helps researchers, it helps historians to put history in its proper perspective. So as far as I'm concerned, I believe in this democracy, no matter the imperfections, all the intricacies and what have you. But I also believe that for you to throw up a genuine leadership that is democratically elected, we should be able to ensure that our elections are credible. Okay. The e-voting issue came on board, where I didn't hear Abdul Mumini's voice condemning the rejection of e-voting at the National Assembly. I didn't see him protest on the streets of Lagos to say that no, this is not proper for a contemporary democracy like ours in the 21st century world. So what I'm saying in essence, no matter what you say, IBB has its pluses, it has its losses. Yeah, he made a lot of achievements in this country. He re-engineered, the governance process in this country, and he also made some mistakes. He is a human being. He cannot be perfect. He cannot play the role of a god. But on the general scale, what he did what he did good, better than those ones we consider to be bad. And he also said that not to take a decision at all will be bad, but then it is better to take a bad decision than not to take a decision at all. So whatever decision he has taken when he was a president, he owned up to the responsibility of it. He said, yes, hold me accountable. That is how contemporary leadership should behave.
All right, in closing,
when they ask them questions, they tell
Mr. Febua, we have to go.
PDP are the ones who are running the country.
Mr. Febua, we have to go quickly. You are his spokesperson. You're the general's spokesperson. If you were to speak to him after this, what would you advise him to do in terms of this, especially for his name to be written in gold once again? Shouldn't he be apologizing to Nigerians, just like Abdul Mumini said? Like you have rightly stated, he had his faults, and those faults are continuously remembered by Nigerians. So shouldn't he be apologizing at least to Nigerians?
His name is already written in gold.
Is it?
It depends on what side of the divide we are looking at. Because after annulment, in this our democracy, our courts have been annulling elections. Heaven did not fall. Our courts have been knocking off a lot of elections. And don't forget that there's two sides to a coin. NRC played a role in the annulment because they felt bitter that certain things were not done right. Nobody's looking at that. You just think about it's all about Nigeria. No. Two parties participated. One voted for A, one voted for B. And if the elections were annulled, if you go to history, you will see the petitions written by NRC to complain about the elections. You will see persons who went to courts to challenge the fact that even M2 Abdullah wore the insignia of SDP, which is a white horse.
We have to go.
The joy that he took to voting. So
we have to go. I want to thank you. Mr. Kazim, I'm so sorry. I have to thank you here. Kazim Afebua is a spokesperson of former head of state Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Of course, I want to appreciate Abdul Mumini Abiola. He is the late MKO Abiola's son. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking with us. Time is not our friend. Thank you. Well, we will take a quick break, and when we return, we will quickly look at those who are advocating for 20 new states in Nigeria. Do we really need it? Stay with us. Now, contrary to reports that a recommendation had been given by the Senate Committee on Constitution Review that a referendum be conducted for 20 new states, the Senate had clarified that the House has no power to make such a recommendation. The spokesperson and chairman Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, in a statement in Abuja, insisted that the panel never made any such proposal. He acknowledged that the committee received several bills demanding for creation of more states. Well, joining us to discuss this is Professor Chris Mwokobia. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor.
It's my pleasure.
Every time the issue of state creation comes up, whether it's a whisper, whether it's a conversation, I always ask, the first question that comes to mind is, the 36 states that we have in the Federation, including the FCT, how economically and otherwise viable are they that we would want to be adding more states or creating more states from those 36 states?
Let me say clearly that if we had a truly federal constitution, if we had a system that allows for devolution of power and, if you like, resource control, we ordinarily would have had states that are effective, efficient, and effectual. We will have states that are viable. But tragically, what we have, which is a pseudo-federal constitution, where you have a federal government that controls just about everything, where you have a rent-taking and a rent-seeking system. You have states that are practically, if you like, not viable. That is why most people who are opposed to the call for creation of more states are of the opinion that the 36 that you have, how effective, how efficient are they, how viable are they? But I want to say that what we must do first in the call for a truly prosperous nation is to ask the National Assembly to allow for devolution of power, allow for resource control, such that states across this country will be able to manage their resources.
Professor, we've been making, I'm so sorry to speak over you, we have been making these calls, and I'm sure that before the 2015 election, the issue of restructuring became the word on every person's mouth, including that of politicians. It was thrown out even in the media. And then in 2019, it came up again. We always pay lip service to this issue. We always say, oh, this is what we want. I'm still yet to hear from the committee that was put together by the APC on restructuring. I'm still yet to hear what came out of it. That paper is somewhere gathering dust. We have had several confabs and conferences in this country. Nothing has been done. So when we keep making these statements and asking, and then we see nothing in return, why continue?
No, we have to. It was Madiba, the great leader of South Africa, former president of South Africa, who said that the time is always right to do right. And let me say clearly, I listened to the first segment of your interview, and I heard the late Chief M. Kwabiola's son talk about what time it is, the need for a new energy in leadership, the need for a new generation of leaders who will think youthward. I think that the time has come for us to think sincerely and seriously about a new generation of leadership that will address these fundamentals. Because, as it were, the present stock, the present leaders we have are perhaps afraid to try something new. They are perhaps scared of daring the status quo. And I think that the time has come for us as a people to dare to do something differently. Because it was Albert Einstein who said that attempting to solve a problem the same way over and over again, and if you like, the same way it was created, is insanity. I think that the time has come, and I say this advisedly. Look at Kogi, for instance. Look at Nasarawa. Look at Benue State. These are states with monumental resources. Nasarawa State is a state that has about 34 mineral resources, but yet cannot run effectively because we have a law, a constitution, that devolves the wealth to the federal government.
Yeah.
If a state like Nasarawa or Kogi, for instance, that has almost as much as 32 mineral resources, were to control our resources, do you know what will happen? You will have, you won't be talking about a Jakarta steel mill not being functional. You won't be talking about poverty, disease, and want. You'll be talking about states that are able to maximize and appropriate their resources for progress.
Yes, but I mean, I like the fact that you're saying, you're proposing what we should be targeting or what the direction we should be going in. But of course, we have strong men. We have political parties that have no ideologies. We see crisscrossing. It's the same crop of people. How do we break into these ranks? Yes, they've signed the Not Too Young to Run bill, and okay, young people are trying to get into politics. But of course, there is a system that actually stops you from getting to a certain level. So really, how do we introduce that new energy in closing? Because we're almost out of time.
No, there is a new movement across the land. There's a new movement in the north. There's a new movement in the south. There's a new movement across the 6 geopolitical zones. Nigerians are saying, and indeed the young people are saying, it is youth o'clock. It is time to try something new. It's time to appropriate a new energy for a new dispensation in leadership. And I think that I'd see the cup as half full, not as half empty. And there are a lot of young people who are beginning to buy into it. We're saying that if the old have failed this far, look at what your first segment, I'll come back to it because the former president did talk about the need for a new energy in leadership. And we're saying, that's why I applaud Abdulmumini Abiola, who did talk about a young man in Kogi. We have a 46-year-old governor in Kogi. They couldn't stop him. The system couldn't stop him. And interestingly, he's saying that a lot can be done. And we all believe that a lot can be done. And that's exactly why I'm saying that nothing can stop a movement whose time has come.
Okay.
It was Fidel Castro who said some time ago that not even the sight of a prison yard, no, the monumental songs from the cemetery can stop an idea whose time has come. And I do sincerely believe that the time has come for the young people to galvanize, the young people to mobilize and change the ante, change the norm, and transform this country, because all over the world we're seeing what Nigerians as young people are doing across the globe, and we're seeing what Nigerian young people are doing at home. So I think that the time has come for every young man out there, rather than vilify leadership, to galvanize and move along with the currency and the energy of now, and bet a new republic come 2023.
Professor Chris Mwakobia, thank you so much for speaking with us. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure is mine.
All right. Well, thank you for staying with us. I'll quickly give you my take before we wrap this up. So here's my take. Now, our priority from now till 2023, if you ask me, is the reformation of our mindset. Now, it has nothing to just do with our electoral process. No, it has to do with everything. What we must know, what we must do, and how we go about it. What we see daily in Nigeria today is, the outright disregard of the citizenry by its leaders, the total abandonment of the people by their government, and a pursuit of personal interest and gains at the expense of these same people. Our healthcare is in shambles, yet our leaders have the luxury of Medicare abroad with taxpayers' monies, by the way. Resident doctors are poorly paid and on strike, yet they're even threatened with no work, no pay. Our legislators have all sorts of ridiculous allowances, including what they call hardship allowances, at their disposal. But a meager amount is allotted to those who spend their lives caring for us. A clear case of double standards, yet politics is thriving. While we're distracted daily by the infighting between the elites and the mega parties, instead of dealing with and addressing what really matters, I have this to say to all of you. We need to reprioritize, because as elections and campaign season is fast approaching, the time will soon change. So don't just go and vote. We need to not just vote, we need to make sure that our votes count. We should not allow ourselves to be cowed again by these politicians. So think about it. We can sit at home and let them win. I am Mary Anna Cone. Thank you for watching.